Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to the podcast. I've been meaning to watch that. I'm your host Monica. We are back again. A new week, new topic, new guest like we do every single week. And this week we have a very special guest with us today. She is a storyteller. She's a lover of film and TV. If you were on TikTok, you have most likely seen her on your For You page. So I would like you guys to join with me in the procession of clapping our hands to welcome our new guest,
Thank
Chelsea.
you, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Yes, my
Yay.
name is Chelsea. You can find me at underscore Chelsea Welcy on TikTok. Chelsea Nicole. You'll find me talking about something. I promise you'll find me yapping about something. Mostly movies and TV, but I do love a good book, and I do like to talk about music as well.
Yes. Chelsea, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I'm so happy to have you on. And guys, today we're going to be talking about It's What's Inside, the
Woo!
trippy, electric Netflix original movie. And I'm sure many of you, when you went to see the movie online and you saw it pop up, you're like, oh, what's this? And
Mhm.
I'm sure you were taken for the ride of your life. So
Of
we're going to be
course.
discussing this movie today. But before we get into that, we're going to jump into Media Mania, which is our first segment of the podcast where we talk about movies, TV show, entertainment news. And
Mhm.
today we're going to be discussing a few stories. One story I did want to talk about is something that just recently broke, I believe. It looks like there is going to be a Clueless sequel series that is currently in development with Peacock, and Alicia Silverstone, who was the lead actress of the original Clueless 90s film, she is set to reprise her role in the series. So the show is currently in development, and there aren't a lot of plot details that are out right now. But for what we know from this Variety article is basically that the show will follow up as a, continuation of the cult classic film. And I am interested to see, what will come of this series. There have been a lot of sequel shows following older beloved films coming out in recent years. I think the most recent one that we talked about before off the mic was the Best Man TV show.
Oh,
Remember
the
that
best
one?
man final chapters. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So
Hmm.
now we have this one coming out, Clueless, and I'm very interested to see what's going to happen because Clueless is a cult classic. It is beloved. It is an amazing movie. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And also, like, we've seen its impact of, fashion and its view on like relationships and friendships and many other
Hmm.
90s films and just other pieces in pop culture. So I'm excited to see what's gonna come out of this. What do you think about this, Chelsea?
I'm curious to see it. I will be honest, I'm not the kind of person that like hates um sequels, when they come back or when they reprise something, I don't automatically hate it. Sometimes I'm like, okay, well, let's give it a chance and let's see what it's talking about. And I think a great example of that would be the Best Man Final Chapters because they continue the story. And though it was dramatic, it did feel authentic to the characters. And so I do think that's rare though. I think that's very rare. I am curious to see how they're going to do this Coolest series. For one, with Alicia Silverstone getting back into the industry. Not to say that she had a hard time when she was first in it, but the media wasn't very nice to her. Especially when not when she played Cher, but when she played Batgirl. The media was very, very mean to her. So, excuse me, I am curious to see what exactly brought her back, to the industry, and how are they going to handle Brittany Murphy's character? How
Mm-hmm.
are they going to touch on what's the she played Dawn? Was her name Dawn?
Stacey
Cher's friend.
Dash.
Stacey Dash. I'm like, are
Mm.
are they gonna bring her back? Are they gonna
Mm.
bring Paul? What was his last name?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. Are they gonna be bringing him back? Because now I'm like, this is kind of a completely different he's Ant-Man now. So I'm like, how are
Mm-hmm.
they going to, juggle bringing him back? I think Clueless was kind of progressive for the time that it came out,
Mm-hmm.
but I am curious to see how they're going to handle these new things. I really hope that they don't hold anything back when it comes to the fashion, because it was so iconic. I feel I love Claire's outfits. Not Claire, Cher's. I love Cher's outfits. But I'm curious to see where they take this. If when they release the trailers, if it looks interesting enough, I might have to watch it myself.
Yeah. To be honest, I do think that Paul Rudd will be returning. I
Mm-hmm.
know he's Ant Man and everything, but like ever since
Mm-hmm.
Quantumania came out, I don't think there's been a lot of talk about Ant Man reappearing in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to be in Doomsday because when they did the cast announcement, I was like, girl, okay. I'll wait for the movie to come out. I don't care.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that he will be. I believe that he will be in the show. I don't think Stacey Dash will be in the show because with how everything is going with the Trump administration, I doubt that
Mm-hmm.
they'll want someone who's been openly supportive of him, even though she hasn't really
Mm-hmm.
said much about him lately. Like she hasn't hit the rebrand like Candace Owen has, but she's been
Mm-hmm.
pretty quiet, and I don't know if she's been laying low in hopes that she may, get this kind of job where people will like forget that she was, tap dancing on Fox News, but we didn't forget Queen. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
And it looks like one of the people who are attached to the making of the series, Jordan Weiss, she
Mm-hmm.
also, I believe, is like a writer or creator for the show called Dollface that was on Hulu, and it
Oh,
starred.
okay.
Let me
Brenda saw.
It did
Was
star
it
Brenda
Brenda
Song.
song?
It starred Shay Mitchell and Kat Dennings. And I
Yeah.
actually really enjoyed this show. It wasn't
Hmm.
like, top tier, but it was fun. It was a fun
Yeah.
show to
Yeah.
watch and
It
I
was a
liked
casual
it.
watch. Yeah.
It was a casual watch. Yes, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it a lot. So it looks like she is someone where like Jordan Weiss is kind of like in her wheelhouse. And she is
Hmm.
also slated to be um I'm not sure if it's a writer or a producer for Freakier Friday,
Okay.
which
Okay.
is the remake for Freaky Friday that's coming out in 2025. So I'm interested to see, how someone who's attached to now two sequels, it looks like, essentially
Yeah.
two reboots. I'm interested to see like what her take is going to be on it. Probably will be
Hmm.
good. Probably will be interesting. We just gotta have to like wait and find out, see what we're working
Right.
with.
Right. Peacock's
Yeah.
shows are pretty decent, honestly. The shows that they have on there, it's pretty good.
The only show on Peacock that I know about, there are two. One is Poker Face with Natasha Leon.
Hmm.
I love that show. I watched some of the first season because I borrowed my friend's Peacock login, but I have been I that's probably the only reason why I would get Peacock is to watch Poker Face. And also there was a show called The Resort that had William Jackson Harper in it, and
Hmm.
then the actress Kristen Milotti. I think she's been on Black Mirror. She was also in the show called Made for Love. She was in The Penguin as well. She was playing the
Okay.
Penguin's sister.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
there's a show called Gross Point Society that
Hmm.
has the actress from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in it.
Yes, I know who you're talking
She
about.
played
She played
Amy.
Amy, right?
Yep, Amy Santiago.
Okay.
And it has the actress Asia Naomi King from
Yes.
How to Get Away
Okay.
with
Yeah.
Murder.
I've been
Yes.
meaning to watch that. I
Yes.
watched One of Us is Lying on Peacock.
Oh, I
That
remember reading
first
that
season,
book, I think.
oh my gosh, that
Is it
first
good?
season was so good. It was
Really?
really good. Now the second season, it kind of like fizzled, it kind of fizzled out for me. But that I think some of my frustration was obviously because I'm an adult and these are high school kids. So I was
Yeah.
just kind of like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
it's only really so far you can really watch the show. But One of Us is Lying. That first season came out swinging. It only had two seasons,
Hmm.
and it got canceled after the second season, and they canceled it on a cliffhanger. I'm just like, oh,
You know what? Apple
you know
TV
what,
did that recently. They canceled one of their original shows, like one of the shows they first released when Apple TV launched, is called Mythic Quest. It stars
Mm-hmm.
one of those guys from It's Always Sunny. I always forget his name, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a show about a video game company, and I started watching it. I enjoy it; it's fun, but apparently they canceled it after season 4, and season 4 was left off of a cliffhanger. So Apple TV is actually letting the editors, like kind of like I don't know, remix the
Mm-hmm.
um the ending to give it a more satisfying conclusion.
Yeah, because I think that's a whole other thing I can talk at length about because I feel like the studios or the production company should give these shows at least 3 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
at least three to just wrap the story up. Because I'm like, it gets to a point. It gets to a point.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes studios, I don't know if they should let them know, but like if you're writing a show, if you're acting, producing a show, and every season you're just crossing your fingers hoping it doesn't get canceled, but you know that the ending is going to be a little iffy, it's not fair to the
Yeah,
writers. It's
yeah,
not fair to the fans either. You know what I
for
mean?
sure. I think when every season, I don't think every season should be a cliffhanger for that matter. Every season shouldn't be a cliffhanger.
No.
We know some people that every single season, I'm like, there has to be other ways for you to entice people to watch the next season without being like somebody's near death. Like
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really care for that, but that's a good point for
Cliffhangers
sure.
start to feel like creators of the show are literally taking the viewer and dangling them off a cliff. Like, ooh,
Yeah,
ooh, 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 you don't know what's gonna
yeah,
happen. Like leaving all of us in a lurch, you know?
yeah, yeah. I felt like that about Star.
Oh, I never
It
watched
was
Star.
it was a lot. It was I'm not gonna
Okay.
act like I mean it's heavy the way Empire is heavy because though like there's obviously a lot of drama, a lot of shock value, but the
Yeah.
stories themselves are very heavy and they ended Star was a show that got canceled on a cliffhanger.
Hmm.
Like there was a there was literally a shootout and then the show ended.
What's it starred the movie with no not movie. That had Queen Latifah in it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh Queen.
I liked
Uh,
it. I liked now
okay.
some of the stuff was a little,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't how can I say it? It's like Queen Latifah had a trans daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say when I say it was heavy, the first season, at least like the first half of the season was about Queen Latifah's character accepting that
Mm-hmm.
her daughter was trans.
Mm.
And so she necessarily wasn't like super transphobic, but the church she went to was. And so it was like the pastor was like trying to shove the play by Tyrese, by the way. The pastor was trying to like
Tyrese.
Tyrese, girl.
Not baby
But again,
boy.
it came out like I want to say maybe 2016, 2017. So it's
Yeah.
like still right like as we're watching, if you were to watch it now, you're like, oh my God. But back then, I guess it was like, okay, so he was kind of trying to like pray it out of her. And it was just at that those parts it gets like super uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, eventually, before the season ends, Queen and her daughter get to a point. Like they get to a place where Queen accepts her name was not Queen in the show, but she accepts her and it was like a thing. But then there's also like relationship not between them, but the entire show, people it was domestic abuse. Brittany O'Grady, who was in Star, who was also in It's What's Inside, her character where we meet her, she was literally getting SA'd, like her first scene on the show. And I was like, that's one of the reasons why I had stopped. What like it took me 2 times to watch it. Now the second time I watched it was because one of my favorite artists was going to be in it, so I was like, okay, well let me sit down and watch it. But it's stuff like that where I'm like, the show itself was entertaining, but it is heavy, so I understand how it could turn other people off. And then where they ended it was this gang pulled up to a wedding and they were literally killing people like a mass shooting at the wedding, and before anybody calls the police, before we get any ambulance, before we get any of that, the screen goes black. And then Fox is like, Star is canceled. I'm like,
Hmm.
are you insane? Are you insane? And then it's been like this. They've been teasing making a movie, but I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it. I always see them like talking about it. I think also the cast seems like they get along pretty well, so they're always around each other, and I think that's what kind of adds to the people who watch Star always feeling like the movie is coming because they're always together. You know?
Hmm. Okay. Um, I was looking over. Oh my gosh, I was looking over at Star on
Mm-hmm.
IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it looks so messy. I'm glad that Amaya
Very.
Scott plays the daughter. It looks like, because I was
Mm-hmm.
in my head wondering like, I hope they didn't cast a cis girl, and they didn't. Amaya Scott is a very well known
Mm-hmm.
trans woman, so that's
The
great.
baddest of the baddest, by the way.
Yes, the baddest of the
Uh,
baddest,
the bad
and
like which didn't she start like the Vixen sewing? Was it well?
yes, she
Okay.
started a lot of trends online.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, this was also the show that Ryan Destiny I feel like was
Mm-hmm.
discovered off of, and there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of actors out here that I did not realize was on this show. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Luke James, who I've
Yeah, that's
seen.
why I started watching. That is why I started watching.
You
I
watched for
know.
Luke James?
I had just watched New Edition,
Ah.
and I'm like, the thing about me is that I don't have crushes. I have hyperfixations, and at the
Mm-hmm.
time, he was the hyperfixation. So I was like, I need to watch everything that he's in, by
Mm-hmm.
the way. And so it was like Blue James is gonna be on Star season 2, and I was like, okay, let me go see what they're talking about. Because the first
Yeah.
time, like that, literally that first episode was so heavy, I was just like, I don't know if this is if this show is for me. But yeah, I went back and got through it. It was good.
Okay. This is the Lance Gross is in it, who I haven't seen since
Yeah,
House of Pain.
he was a jerk. He
Mm.
was a jerk. He was one of the well, I don't want to say he was a jerk, but he was kind of like an anti-hero. I guess that's like the best way you can describe because he wasn't the main obstacle,
Mm-hmm.
but he also wasn't great. Like, yeah, his character wasn't great. But it was different seeing him in a role like that. I've never seen him be that mean.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from what I can see, yeah, the show looks messy. It looks
Mm-hmm.
very messy. Gosh, that is I haven't thought about that show in so long. So
Mm-hmm.
seeing it and you like mentioning it is crazy to me. But I digress. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
move on to our next story, which is apparently Ryan Gosling, and
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Gosling is going to star in a new Star Wars film titled Star Wars Fighter. It is going to be directed by Sean Levy of Deadpool, I believe. So the movie is set to begin production in fall of 2025, and it is going to be released in 2027. It's slated for
Mm-hmm.
May 28th, 2027, but
Mm-hmm.
we will hold our breath and cross our fingers for that one. But the
I
project,
haven't seen
hmm?
anything Star Wars.
You haven't seen anything Star Wars like
Mm-mm.
in recent years?
No, at all.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're
Okay.
gonna have to tell me about it.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really know that much about this movie. I know
Mm-hmm.
there has been whisperings and different announcements about Star Wars movies following Rise of Skywalker. Like at one point, Taika Waititi was supposed to do one, and then another
Mm-hmm.
point, the Game of Thrones brothers had a Star Wars movie that they were supposed to do, and that got shelved. So now it looks like this project, which was announced at the Star Wars Celebration event in Tokyo by Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy and creative chief Dave Filoni. This film is set to release in 2027. It's going to have new characters and take place 5 years after the events of the Rise of Skywalker. Ryan Gosling is the only
One
person who has
second.
been casted.
That was my brother. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan Reynolds is the only person who has been casted as of right now. No other cast
Okay.
members have been confirmed, and this is going to be Levy's first film after Deadpool and Wolverine, and this is going to be, a rare franchise role for Ryan Gosling.
You said, am I going to watch for Ryan Gosling?
No, I said this is going to be a rare franchise role for Ryan
Yeah, he
Gosling.
normally doesn't do franchise
Hmm.
things. He usually just does a one-off kind of situation.
I think that because he is kind of jumping into this, I guess
Hmm.
he probably trusts Sean Levy. Deadpool is a very likable film series within the MCU. It
Hmm.
does stand out apart from the other Marvel films. So having someone like Sean Levy at the helm of this is probably what is most attractive to him. And now that
Hmm.
Ryan Gosling is set to lead this movie,
Hmm.
we're gonna see who else will be casted in this film. I mean, the movie's gonna start production in fall, so they
Okay.
have to cast some more people. It can't
Right.
just be him.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. I'm curious to see who they're gonna have play opposite of him
Yes,
too.
I am interested
Hmm.
to see what will happen because I think they've been trying to continue on the Star Wars films since Rise of Skywalker came out, but I think it was due to like a lot of the mixed reviews from Rise of Skywalker that they didn't have a lot of reason
This
to do
conference.
so.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I'm guessing they're trying to revitalize the Star Wars franchise once again, and hopefully with the success they've seen from the Acolyte, and from Andor, now season 2 coming out, it's very
Right.
clear that there's some hunger for new stories in Star Wars, as long as the stories are
For
told
sure.
well. So
Right.
we just have to wait and see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope they give it a chance.
Mm-hmm. Hope they give it a try. And
Yeah.
guys, that's going to be it for Media Mania. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in to the meat and potatoes of the podcast. It's what's inside. For those who do not know, and I don't understand how you don't know, because girl, why are you listening to this episode? But it's what's inside is a Netflix original film. It stars a group of college friends who decide to meet up once again. It's basically like a pre-wedding party after they have spent 8 years apart. And the gathering is just a couple of friends reuniting. We have Shelby, who is a very sweet girl who is dating Cyrus, who is kind of non-confrontational and a little bit of a coward. We have Dennis, who is a playboy, the guy who's kind of like he's not a nice guy, so to speak. He's kind of like the bad
Yeah.
boy. We have
Hmm.
Maya, who's a little woo woo. We have
Yeah.
Nikki, who is an influencer. She's
Hmm.
blonde. She's gorgeous. She's popular. Everybody knows her. Everybody loves her. Brooke, she thinks she's so different. I don't know. Maybe I don't like Brooke. Maybe that's it. I can't think of any other way to describe Brooke. But Brooke, she's also part of the group. Ruben is the person who is going to get married, So he has gathered all his friends together. And then we have Forbes, the surprise invite to the party, who is estranged from his friends due to, a birthday party that went down when they were in college. So they're reuniting under the pretext of just reconnecting with each other after 8 years. And I have to say, when the film first started, I immediately, like, I don't want to seem rude. I don't want to seem mean, but the film opens up with Shelby checking Nikki's social media, and she's looking at the comments, she's looking at the likes, she's looking at the photos and everything, and then she posts a picture, she's thinking of the caption, she's trying, and immediately in my head I'm just like, girl,
Right.
oh no, not this. Like when I tell you, like as a black woman myself, there are certain phases when it comes to loving yourself. And when you're in the phase of like wanting to emulate your white friends or white celebrities, that is for middle school. That is not for adulthood. I'm sorry if that, like, in college, I get college could be hard, college could be stressful. If you have a kind of
Hmm.
friend group that's toxic and you go into
Hmm.
adulthood with that same, insecurity, then yes, that could transfer into like your very young adulthood. But 8 years since you graduated, you're probably in your 30s, baby girl. That should have been gone. That should have been gone. Hit up your work, find out if you can get therapy through that insurance, and talk to somebody.
That part right there. It was the blonde wig when she was like, "Oh, hey, cutie." I was like, "Free my sister! Free my sister!"
A
Oh my
synthetic
god!
wig at that. Why does it look so tight? Brush it out. It
Oh
doesn't
my
even
gosh!
have
And
a
then
part to it.
come to find out,
Jesus.
he was the one who asked her to put it on.
Oh gosh.
Again, free my sister from the chains, girl. I don't know. See, that's the kind of thing where like if your friend tells you that, like, what do you say? What do you say if your friend's like, me and him are trying something new and he wanted me to put on a blonde wig? And I'd be like, blonde? Like if my friend, and it depends on the situation, right?
Yeah.
Because if she's non-black, I'm kind of like, okay. But if it was specified as a black woman that your man wants you to put on a blonde wig, girl, what's going on? What's
And
going on?
you have a friend. You have a friend in your friend group who has blonde hair. Immediately, immediately, my mind's going to
Yeah,
see. We're trying to play pretend here, but
right,
we live in the real world. So
right, right.
if my friend
He
told
asked
me that,
her.
like,
Mhm.
oh, my boyfriend wants me to put on a blonde wig, and we have a friend who's blonde, and she's like kind of like flirty and nice, I'd be like, girl, check his phone. Check that phone. Check that phone.
Girl. And if Shelby did check his phone, she'd find out a bunch of just read messages from Cyrus to Nikki. Because Nikki, she wasn't checking for him
Not at all.
at all.
No one was
You
checking
would
for him.
think nobody but Shelby.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but wow, yes, that was just so. She's putting on the blonde wig. She's like trying to make her voice sound like Nikki's on the phone. Nikki, who happens to be this like huge influence, she's got millions of followers. It's like Shelby is trying to be in her skin. No
Emulate
pun
her.
intended. She's trying to emulate her. She's trying to be in her skin. That is not the first time you see Shelby on Nikki's page throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And she comes out, blonde wig, and she interrupts Cyrus while he's in the middle of mhm. while
Pleasuring
he's in the,
himself.
yes, she interrupts Cyrus. So she asks him, "Oh, like you need help or anything?" And he starts staring at her
Mm.
like she's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then
He straight up starts like making her feel like, why are you upset? Why are you
he
mad?
literally just stared at her.
I
He
hate
just
when men
stared at
do
her.
that.
He's like,
You know
"Oh,
you're
you can
pissing me
initiate."
off. Don't act like I'm
He's
crazy.
like, "Bro." He's like, "Oh, well, you can initiate it. Well, we can get started. Sure. Well, let's just do it." And then just proceeds to stare at her.
That's not sexy. That's not helping.
How he managed to pull her in the first place?
It's because she's very pretty and clearly out of his league, but she doesn't have enough self confidence to leave him. And he knows
Right,
that. And he does just
right.
enough to keep her around, but not enough to actually be a good boyfriend.
He was not a good guy at all. Like,
No.
and what I hated is knowing that he wasn't a good guy, but that he wasn't so delusional that you couldn't trust his perception of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to get like ahead, but it's like, at one point in the movie, um,
We can move ahead. Like, we can move to the part.
okay,
So, the.
okay, yeah, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
move
yeah.
ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll get back to that later.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, it's fine. So
Hmm.
we are moving forward in the film, and basically everybody shows up to the party, the gathering at this like beautiful, gorgeous house,
Hmm.
and essentially, everyone shows up. They're all hanging out. They're all talking, all getting to know each other. And I don't know if you figured out why this is, but for some reason, everybody's congratulating Cyrus and Shelby for getting married or getting engaged. Why was that?
I My theory is that Dennis said something to everybody. That
Oh,
Dennis said, um, what's up, or that, or maybe they're engaged or something like that. Because they all believed it. They all believed it. And or maybe somebody said something in passing before they got there. Which by the way, when they pulled up, they argued coming up to the house. They argued outside of the house. They knock on the door. Dennis opens the door. You first see some tension between Dennis and Cyrus because
yeah.
I thought it was weird that Dennis, when Dennis goes to hug Shelby. Now Shelby and Cyrus are together. They have been together for what, like 8 or 9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis hugs her and like spins her around, and then he turns around. He's like, "Oh, hey, Cyrus." I'm like, um,
Dennis, you can take her if you want. I know you're not a great
you
guy,
really
but
can.
like, I know you're not a
You
great
really
guy, but
can.
like, honestly,
Yeah. You know what else I noticed
mm,
when everybody was greeting each other
yeah,
is that what's her name? Nikki. She is a mean girl.
yeah,
And I didn't catch that the first time that I saw it. Now, when everybody's greeting, like Brooke comes in, Maya comes in, and they're all tweaking. I think Brooke partook in some herbs
hmm.
before everybody
Yeah,
else even got there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
Brooke is kind of like bouncy and giddy, and
Mm-hmm.
Maya's like, oh, like she's very woo woo, very Buddha, type of energy. But when Brooke comes bouncing around, so it how it happens is Dennis comes, um, Nikki comes, I believe, then Maya and Brooke. Brooke is bouncing around. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy to see you! Oh my god, I'm so happy to see you!" So as Brooke is hugging Shelby, Nikki makes eye contact with Shelby, and she's like, "I was like, you," and I did not catch it the first
Mm-hmm.
time. I did not
Yeah.
catch it the first time. So I was like, okay, there's something going on, obviously, in this friend group. So there's cracks in the relationship between Shelby and Cyrus. Dennis and Cyrus aren't really friends. You can tell Dennis doesn't care about making Cyrus uncomfortable because that would make me, I'm not even a dude, that would make me uncomfortable. If I walked in with my girlfriend and my guy friend whisked her around in a full 360,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what's the problem?
Unhand her.
Right. And then Cyrus forgot about all of that when Nikki walked in the room.
When Nikki walked in the room, it was literally like heaven was opening its gates and an angel descended upon the earth. Like the movie was doing a little too much. It was glazing her. I was like, come on. Come on.
I'm like, bro, please. No, she's a but the girl, the lady who plays her, she's very gorgeous. She's
I
very,
mean,
very gorgeous.
yeah.
But it
Oh
was
yeah.
just like we're seeing Nikki in that sense, the way she walked in, we're seeing Nikki through Cyrus's lens and possibly Shelby's. Because Shelby has clearly put her on a pedestal because that's really who Cyrus wants.
Such a shame. Okay. I do want to say this before we really get into the nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I watch any movie or TV show with a friend group, and everybody in the friend group, they're only friends because they became friends at a very young age, and they stayed
Mm-hmm.
friends just for, like, I don't know, politeness, nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
But you can very clearly see that, like, there are some secrets there, there is some tension there, there are some unresolved, there are some things lying around, you know, some things in everybody's closet, some skeletons. And I just can't help but think, like, why don't we unburden ourselves with these unnecessary relationships? Why are y'all so friends with each other? Why do y'all still hang out? Why do we need to reconnect? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Ruben is still in love with Maya. Nikki doesn't like Brooke. Shelby idolizes Nikki. Cyrus wants to be with Nikki. Like, all of you, Nikki is fake. Like, Dennis is a is a loser. Like, what's going on? Why are we friends?
I you know what? I think they just partied together too much, and the nostalgia from the parties made them believe that their relationships were better than they were.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I think the only people who may have been friends was probably Maya and Brooke.
that's true.
I think they may have been the only people who seemed like genuine friends. the rest of them just seemed like they were tolerating, like Dennis was tolerating Cyrus for Ruben.
Mm-hmm.
um Nikki was tolerating Brooke for everybody else. And
Mm-hmm.
then even Nikki and Dennis had a relationship and they were arguing the whole time. They obviously broke up years ago, but they had a relationship and Dennis just kept, I mean, I thought it was funny, but Dennis just kept like poking at Nikki the whole time. He was like, oh, you're 2 million followers, and oh, you're such an important person. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, Dennis, like it's getting to a point.
We get it.
Like it's getting to a point.
We get it. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But, the night starts pretty normally, I guess you would, as, a bunch of friends get together and the night begins. And then we have the announcement, not announcement, but like Ruben reveals that he invited Forbes. And everyone's kind of surprised, like, who's Forbes? And Forbes is their friend from college. He was a genius, he was very smart. And there was one night where they were holding a party. I think it was Ruben's birthday party, right?
It was either Ruben's or Dennis's birthday party.
Right.
I think it was Ruben's, but it may have been Dennis's. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was, I think it was Ruben's birthday party. And
Mm-hmm.
basically what happened was that Nikki and Dennis, I guess, were hooking up, and
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice was into Dennis from the account that was told to Shelby, I think from Brooke. And so Beatrice got upset at Dennis, and Beatrice attacked Nikki, and then Forbes attacked Dennis, and then Forbes got expelled because he brought his high school sister to a college party. So he left school, and then he became Mark Zuckerberg, essentially, and now he is at this party reuniting with
Mm-hmm.
everybody. So we,
Mm-hmm.
meet Forbes as he comes in, and when we see Forbes, I have to say, like, upon first watch, it's so clear that Forbes is like this smug guy who is like seems like one of those nice guys who's not actually a nice guy. But upon the second watch, knowing everything that we know, it's like, oh yeah, that
When
you
he
have
was
a
outside making paper, making paper, I thought that was so weird. But then that second watch, though, I
mm-hmm.
was like, uh,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's why you were doing that.
Yeah, it's very clear that like there's something off with Forbes. But
Mm-hmm.
we all greet Forbes. We all say hello to Forbes. Hi, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Politeness, niceties.
Maybe like a glass or two of wine in already,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
they're smoking.
yes, and they're smoking. So Forbes, he was known for hosting game nights. So Forbes brings a game. He arrives with a suitcase, and the suitcase it contains a body swapping machine, and he introduces the device as experimental technology that transfers consciousness between bodies. And basically, you put the electronodes on the temples, and admittedly, Shelby is like apprehensive towards doing it because she doesn't know what's going to happen. And I am going to be very honest and say that I too would be about doing
Mm-hmm.
that because, like, I'm not putting anything not tested, not like approved by some kind of agency to my brain where
But
I
he didn't even
think,
tell him what it was. The first time he did it, he didn't even tell them what it was, and so he just kind of like, well, no, no, just trust me. No, 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 it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be
mm,
fine. And then all of a sudden, you're looking down at a body that's not yours
yeah,
while you are inebriated. For that, while you are slightly inebriated, we could say by that point everybody was tipsy at least.
mm-hmm.
So that caused the whole. Then, like after he did it, I think Dennis threw up. Dennis got up and threw up, I believe. The first time he did it without telling anybody that that's what he was going to do, by the way, Dennis got up and threw up.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like if you're gonna do something like that, you should be sober. To do that while you're like drunk, high, both, it's not a good
Yeah,
idea.
no, it's not. I just like it really blew me the fact that he did it without telling it. I feel like that was just like a major violation,
Mm-hmm.
a major violation. But and Shelby was the only one to point it out.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And Also, I feel like, when you watch these movies, I get surprised by how quickly people agree to do things that are clearly dangerous. Like, this is
Yeah,
not a good idea. We should
because
not
when
be.
he was saying, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just
No, you're
getting
good.
excited. When he was saying like, oh, it has to rest in between switches and all of that, and I'm like, what does that mean?
Hmm.
But I think when it's to your point, you were saying that why they went along with it so quickly. I think they all, especially Maya and Ruben, I think they all were looking forward to a night where they could just do whatever they wanted for the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they agreed to it because the second time they did it, I noticed that when Forbes was like, "Oh, we don't have to do it again. I just wanted to show you guys whatever." Ruben was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then Maya immediately after Ruben
Oh,
was like, "Oh, yeah, 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 let's do it. Let's do it for sure." And I'm like, with those two specifically, they did not have to hop into anybody else's body to do what it is they wanted to do.
mm-hmm.
So the fact that they child and they came, we're just gonna keep going because that got really messy really fast.
Yeah. Because I feel like, you're right. They wanted that one night to do whatever they wanted without any kind of consequences. Um, and in my mind, it's like swapping bodies to, make out with each other or, cheat on your spouse. Like,
Right.
at that point, just do it. Just do it. Just call her up, get a hotel, and do it. Swapping bodies is too much work. It makes it complicated. You know what? Don't even
and
get married if you're still hung up on your ex. At that point, what are we doing?
and it's like rocket science to some people apparently. It is rocket science because not to bring it back, but like that was quite literally the one of the premises of The Best Man
Yeah.
with Harper and Robin and Jordan. He didn't have to propose to Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Not Jordan. He didn't have to propose to Robin, but he did anyway. Pine after Jordan the whole time. Then you get back here with Ruben and Maya, but it was on his family's like compound. His fiance was still somewhere on the like not in the house, but she was somewhere else
Yeah.
within the vicinity. And I'm like, the disrespect to even do that with the girl still on the land somewhere. She wasn't in the house, but she was somewhere. Her and her family.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we have round one. Um, they start swapping bodies. So
Mm-hmm,
Shelby ends up in Brooke's body. Brooke is a girl with the half red hair, half black hair, right?
mm-hmm,
Ruben, the groom to be, ends up in Cyrus's body. Cyrus is Shelby's boyfriend. Maya, woo woo girl, ends up in Nikki's body, the influencer.
mm-hmm.
Cyrus, Shelby's boyfriend, ends up in Ruben's body, the groom to be. And Forbes ends up in Dennis's body, and then Dennis is in Forbes' body. So that's the first initial switch that
Mm-hmm.
happens. And when I was first watching this movie, I was just like, who is in who? What's going on?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
was shocked. But Shelby told on herself immediately because she was screaming and
Yes.
stood all the way up and then calmed down immediately because Brooke was so high. Brooke was so high. I liked the little art drawing that she did though. What like before everything happened when she was putting like the paper
Yeah.
like the it was like a red film kind of
Mm-hmm.
situation, which I thought I'm like, was that like an Easter egg to like what was going to happen? Like one person inside of the other was that supposed to be like an Easter egg about what the movie was going to be about?
Uh huh.
I wonder. But to your point, they then start playing the game to
Yes.
see who's in who. So when Shelby who's in Brooke's body, when she jumps up screaming, they automatically say that Shelby and tape the Polaroid
Yep.
to her. But we'll touch on that later because before they finally decided to do the game, everybody took Polaroids. Everybody had a Polaroid picture, and they when the game would be when they guessed whoever the person was, they would tape or stick, staple, whatever, the Polaroid to the person's clothes. So they were doing all kinds of things to figure out who they were. They found out that Maya was in Nikki's body because she said, dude. And then what was it? Ruben ended up in Cyrus's body, but who's in Ruben's body? That Cyrus was in Ruben's body,
Yeah.
right?
So Cyrus, the group guessed that was in Dennis's body, but it wasn't Cyrus. It was Forbes, and he just played along with it, pretending to be
Yeah,
Cyrus. But Cyrus was actually in Ruben's body, even though they thought
right.
he was in Dennis's body.
Right. And so that's when I was saying how though Cyrus was a jerk, you're already kind of looking at him some kind of way before we get down into it. He's not delusional enough that you can't trust his perception.
Mm-hmm.
So he automatically knows that something is off with
Yes.
Forbes because he pretended like he was Cyrus when he wasn't. When Forbes was in Dennis's body, he pretended like he was Cyrus. And then they go into like what the little green room and Cyrus, who is in Ruben's body, is talking to Dennis,
Yep.
who is
Who is
Forbes,
Forbes?
and who was playing with the phone, by the way,
Mm.
playing with his phone, and Forbes just in Dennis's body turns around. And he's just kind of like, "What's the problem?" Like all of a sudden, like super cool, like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just playing the game. We're just playing the game." Child, it was just right from the get go. It was messy.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, not Dennis, Cyrus in Ruben's body goes
Yes.
to that little disco room
Yes.
thing,
And he
and he
sees
sees
Maya.
who is in Nikki's body.
Yep. And Cyrus
Yeah.
has a crush on Nikki. And
Mm-hmm.
Ruben has feelings for Maya. And when I was watching it, because the first time I was watching it, I was like, oh, Ruben and Maya are making out. But in my head, I'm like, no, girl, that's not what's happening. And I was like, what the what's
Mm-mm.
happening? But upon the
And
second
it's
time I watched it, I was
reciprocated.
like, oh, this is like, it's so messy on so many levels. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
literally like, it's like you're watching two people make cheat. Two
Right.
people are cheating
And
right now.
but you know, so when Cyrus, who is in Ruben's body,
Mm-hmm.
sees Nikki, who is her mind is Maya.
Yeah,
Maya
yeah,
sees
yeah.
Ruben. She starts getting all close to him and it's like being all flirty. Something about it, blondes have more fun. And then they kiss. And Maya's kissing Ruben. She doesn't know. I think she says yeah, she calls him Forbes. She
Yep.
calls him Forbes first, and he plays along. And then they're kissing, and they're all like, Maya's like, tell me you want to be with me. Tell me you'll in the marriage. Tell me you'll do it.
Gosh.
And then while all of this is happening, oh, do
Mm-hmm.
you think about me? While all this is happening, the red film goes up again on the screen, and you
Mm-hmm.
see the people who are actually making out,
Mm-hmm.
which is Cyrus and Maya. Crazy, just crazy. And which I just realized was another plot point when Brooke was putting up the red film over the drawing that she did. Every single time in that movie when they revealed who was really in the bodies, they put it in like a red filter.
Did she think Ruben was in his own body?
No, she thought that was Forbes.
Forbes and Maya were together?
No, I think she just didn't care. She
Oh.
wanted Ruben, but
Oh,
because
right.
Forbes had pretended to be Cyrus in Dennis's
Oh.
body,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. So she
he
just
was. So
wanted.
everybody just, yeah,
Everyone's just playing pretend right now.
right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. I. It's. It's crazy to me watching Maya, who is someone who pretends to be so enlightened and so at peace, you know. And girl, you want to break up a couple who's going to get married? You
A
want to break a
marriage,
covenant that's going to be made before God? Oh no.
and didn't even care.
Did not care at all.
Girl,
Mm-mm.
messy boots. So then, while they're making out, Cyrus, who's in Dennis's, not Dennis, Cyrus, who is in
Ruben's
Ruben's
body.
body, he backs up into something that like pokes him and like stabs him a little
Oh
bit.
yeah, he cuts himself on the chair.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's what ends the whole thing. That's what
Yeah.
ends their whole little kissing, making out session.
Yeah, because Nikki was in Maya's body and she came to check it
Hmm.
out. And then
Right,
Maya, who's in Nikki's body, was like, that's weird. And she left.
right,
Yes.
right.
So
So
later
then
he finds Cyrus, who is in,
Shelby.
yeah, right. Cyrus, he's in Ruben's body. He finds Shelby, she's in Brooke's body. And Ruben, who is in Cyrus's body, they start
Hmm.
making fun of Cyrus because he doesn't want to dance. And they start making
Hmm.
fun of him because he likes to watch porn. And
Right,
uh,
and doesn't sleep with his girlfriend
girlfriend.
at all, which we left out when we first started.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Respectfully, between Shelby and Cyrus, it has been a while, and Shelby was quite literally begging. By the time we see
Oh my
Shelby,
gosh.
she was
When you have
literally
to
begging.
beg, when you have to beg in a way where it's not like part of it, but you
Right?
literally have to beg, like that's when you gotta go. That's when
Like
we gotta pack up our
that's
stuff and
not the
leave.
script.
If it's
That's
not
not in the
like,
script.
if it's not in the foreplay, is and you're doing it
Right.
just to get it started, then like,
And so it what was interesting to me was, first of all, Shelby had only been that honest because she was so high in
yep,
Brooke's body. But also they didn't know that Ruben was Cyrus.
yep,
So they were just talking candidly.
yeah,
And Shelby sharing how Cyrus doesn't want to do anything. It's not even just them not being physically intimate with each other. He doesn't want to. She wants to go to dancing classes. He doesn't want to do that. She wants to just, be with him. And it's like he's always working. He's always doing this. He's always doing that. And so she was just laughing about it with Ruben, who was in Cyrus's body, but they were dancing. They were dancing. She was seemed like she was actually happy.
mm-hmm.
And I felt like there was just a twinge of jealousy on Cyrus's part, just a twinge,
And he
because
has
he
no
was
right
just
to be
like,
jealous if he's a lame duck in
no,
his
right,
relationship.
quite literally just kiss somebody else, quite
Oh
literally
yeah, oh yeah,
just kiss somebody else,
huh,
and then told her, "I think about you all the time."
sir.
How can you think a name? Nothing has ever happened between him and Nikki. That's the shocking part. Nothing has ever. She has never remotely made him feel like he had a chance. He just wanted her.
It's
Yeah.
crazy to me because like I feel like the other guys in the friend group, oh my gosh, if they put in some effort towards Shelby and they're like screw Cyrus, she would leave him.
Oh, for sure.
Except Ruben, because obviously he's still hung up on Maya. But like, you know,
Right. Right.
please somebody else
But
save
she
my
said she
girl.
liked Forbes. She said she liked Forbes in the beginning of the film.
Mm,
She said she not like, oh my gosh, I have a crush on him, but
yeah,
when they asked her, do you remember Forbes or whatever, she's like, oh, I remember, I liked him. Like, I liked
because
hanging
she's a
out or whatever.
sweet, kind, adorable, wonderful young woman who does not deserve
She
that
deserved a
man.
better man.
She deserves someone
She
better.
deserved a better man for sure.
Yes.
So after Cyrus gets all butt hurt, now
Mm-hmm.
everybody has to come back and switch into their
Yep.
regular bodies again.
Yep.
Boo, boo, Cyrus.
Yep. Yep. So they all switched back, and everybody had fun. Especially Shelby. She was like, "It was super fun." And
Mm-hmm.
Cyrus does not want to play anymore. He
Mm-hmm.
goes to Shelby, pulls her aside. He's like, "I don't know. Like Forbes is weird," and he's like trying to talk to her about it. And she's like, "Okay, at first you wanted me to go along with it. You wanted me to do it. I had fun. Now you don't want to do it. Is this one of those
Right.
things where you're trying to make me feel guilty for something? Like, what's going on here?
Right.
Like, sir, make up your mind."
Right. And it's he it did really, because at that point then Forbes wanted to show Shelby how it worked. He wanted to show Shelby how it works. So now Cyrus is being all pissy.
Yes. And
He
also,
doesn't
like,
want to play.
it's
Mhm.
always the partner that accuses their other partner of cheating, of being unfaithful. They're jealous, they're envious, and it's because
Mhm.
you're projecting.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
Yeah, it's you. It's you.
It's you, buddy.
You're the unfaithful one, not Shelby. Shelby is too good for this world, and she's too
She
good for
was.
you. And you know
So
that.
now they're gearing up for the second round.
Yes, but we should talk about what happens after end round one. Um,
Mhm.
Dennis apologizes to Forbes
Oh my
because,
God, I forgot about that.
yes, he says that he and Ruben
And
told
Ruben.
told the dean. I forget what they told the dean that led to.
That he was they kind of lied. I mean, even though okay, Beatrice was there at the party and she shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
But they went and tried to make it seem like the whole brouhaha happened because of Forbes.
Hmm.
And it wasn't because of Forbes. It was because Dennis was lying about him, and he was still lying
Yeah.
about him, about the nature of his relationship with Beatrice.
Mm-hmm.
He was still, well, I don't, you see how he never even took ownership of
Accountability?
that.
No.
He was just kind of like, yeah, I don't even really know what happened, but we went to the dean and we told the dean all these things about you, and that's what got Forbes expelled.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
And
that's when we found out that Ruben, right, like you said, like Ruben was in on it, and for Ruben to be so keen on Forbes coming.
yeah, that was also weird. I think that like Forbes, he seems pretty well off. Like the building they're staying in, the castle or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it is a very nice building. So I
Mm-hmm.
think he's very well off. So in my mind, what I think is that he invited Forbes over because he sees Forbes is doing it large, living big and bold, and he
Mm-hmm.
wants a slice of the pie. So Dennis
Mm-hmm.
telling Forbes that is kind of like undercutting Ruben because Ruben is trying to get in and Forbes' money. And I feel like maybe Dennis could see that, maybe Dennis doesn't know that
Oh,
or whatever. Or maybe Dennis is
mhm.
trying to get in on Forbes' money and,
Right,
he's trying to do whatever he can to make it seem like, hey, I'm a bad guy, but I'm not that bad of a guy because guess what? That guy over there who's acting like he's all nice because he's getting married, he
right,
got you expelled too.
right,
Yeah, trying to
right,
share the blame. Because if
right,
it's one person who does it, you're a terrible person. But if it's two people, then you share the blame, but you don't share all of the blame. You know what I mean?
right. And then we were so young and we just didn't know.
Yeah, we were
That
so
whole thing.
dumb. Like
You
our
got
futures were
somebody
ahead of
expelled.
us. Yeah, yeah. All the excuses are not. They don't make up for what you did, but.
He got somebody expelled and was hooking up with his friend's underage sister.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Not good.
Dennis, it's not good.
No, not at all. So we go into the second swap, and you're gonna have to correct me on this if I get something wrong. So Cyrus swaps into Forbes' body. Shelby is in Nikki's body.
Mm-hmm.
Ruben is in Dennis's body. Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Dennis goes into Cyrus's body.
Yes.
Okay. And then Maya goes into Shelby's body.
Yes.
Okay. And then Forbes, he's in Ruben.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Brooke is in
He's,
Maya.
yeah. Yeah. That's
Okay.
how
And
that
then
happens.
Nikki is in Brooke.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that is essentially the second swap go round. And now that we're in the second round, things get a little more spicy. Because before they were
Mm-hmm.
doing the swap, Cyrus and Shelby were like, okay, let's have a signal to each other so we know who's who. Cyrus does a signal. And
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny because Shelby does not do a single signal back. And he's like,
Nope.
"Oh, okay, what the heck is going on?" But
Right.
eventually he figures out, like, that Shelby's and Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
And then we enter into some very questionable
Yep.
foreplay.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say
Mm-hmm.
questionable, I mean questionable. Because
Yep.
Shelby has now, I don't know how to say this, girl, you are degrading yourself. You are,
Super.
girl, she's literally like, we can pretend. It's like a wig. It's not like a wig, babe. A wig is something you take off. You have switched consciousness with somebody. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong
But
here. And he goes with it.
before we even get all the way there,
Mm-hmm.
she took a picture and posted it to when Shelby was in Nikki's body, she took a picture and posted it to Shelby's page, not Shelby, Nikki's page, just so she could feel the adrenaline rush of everybody
Mm-hmm.
commenting on her picture and liking it, and then goes through Nikki's phone,
Mm-hmm.
her text messages with I think her social media manager or somebody. She starts going through her messages, and the only reason Forbes, I mean, well, Cyrus, who was in Forbes' body, the only reason he realized that that was Nikki and Shelby's body was because she saw a bug. Or was it a bug or a bat or something she saw outside and she was screaming?
I don't know.
And that's how he figured out, which is then they get into an argument. He brings her, they go into the greenhouse.
Uh-huh.
And that's when the argument starts. But while they're arguing, we shift our attention over to Ruben, who is in Dennis's body,
Yep.
and Brooke, who is in Maya's body.
Yes. So this is what I mean. When you could just keep things simple. Is it so hard to call up your friend from college and be like, hey, I still think about you. Let's meet up at the Marriott off of I-75. I don't know what interstate is near y'all. And let's just have one night of passion. Instead of going to a very high balcony and start making out. Like making out like holding she wraps her legs around his waist, he picks her up and they're making out like what are we doing here?
Then acknowledging that the house is falling apart before they even got up there. When they go up to the highest, I'm like, first of all, that big old house, I know there was beds. I know there were beds in that house.
Yeah.
When they got up to the highest point, he's like, oh yeah, but this house is like falling apart. So then they start hello. They start talking and things get all hot and heavy. They start kissing. He puts Brooke, who is in Maya's body, on this balcony. The balcony has a crack in it. Apparently, the viewers are the only ones that know that the balcony has a crack in it. So they get to getting, and it gets way more hot and heavy.
Yep.
And so while they're getting hot and heavy, we're also getting scenes with Shelby in Nikki's body, trying to get things started with Cyrus, who is in Forbes' body. The issue, like, it was kind of like a parallel back and forth. You see the scene just escalating and escalating until Cyrus, just in Forbes' body, decides that he doesn't want to hook up. And so that pisses Shelby off, because now it's like she finally got into Nikki's body. She's posted the picture. She's done the, oh, hey, cutie. She's done all of that. And Cyrus still doesn't want to sleep with her.
And this is when I have to pause and say, if we need to switch bodies to reach self-actualization, that finding validation through a man is not going to make us happy, then babe, that was too much to go through. All right, it was too much. Insane. Literally, like, it's not even like psychosis at this point. Like, you have literally swapped bodies with somebody. Like, you were in an experience that many people have not gone through, but there have been plenty of people who have been able to break up with their boyfriends, and you should be able to do so too. I'm saying this with love, Shelby. Why are we here?
Okay, and so they're Shelby and Shelby, who is in Nikki's body, and Cyrus, who is in Forrest's body. They're arguing. They're walking out of the greenhouse. Now, turn our attention all the way up to the balcony. It has crossed a line, and I'm putting it has crossed a line with Ruben, who is in Dennis's body, and Brooke, who is in Maya's body. They are in the middle of it, saying all kinds of crazy things. Brooke, then not Brooke.
It's Maya in Brooke's body.
Yeah, it's Maya in Brooke and Maya's body.
No, it's Maya in Brooke's body. And Brooke and Maya's body, yeah. Okay, so we're with Brooke now.
Right.
Sorry,
so
I didn't mean to confuse you.
Ruben asks, he's like, oh my God, you look just like her. So while they're doing what they do, Ruben asks Brooke, do you know who I am? And she's like, yes, I don't care. And I'm like, that's what confused me. So I'm like, was Brooke hooking up with Dennis because she wanted to hook up with Dennis, or was she hooking up with Dennis because she wanted to hook up with Ruben? Because Ruben was in Dennis's body, and she said she didn't care.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what was that about?
So you're just messy,
right?
So you're just all over the place,
right.
Got it.
Right. So again, now the scene goes back to Shelby, who's in Nikki's body, and Cyrus, who's in Ford's body. She's storming out. He's following her. Boom.
Ooh. Listen, when the bodies fall, oh my gosh, I literally like jumped. I
I
jumped back.
jumped. I was like, the worst thing that could happen.
Even the second time around, I accidentally paused it right when the bodies fell mid fall, and I was like, "Oh, it was crazy." And then when you see it, I
Oh,
hate when Netflix does. I hate when TV shows, movies do this. They zoom in on a dead body. It's like, okay, we get it. They're not with us. They're not with us.
oh
Move.
my, it was insane.
It was
So
awful.
they fall off and they hit one of the sculptures that is on the that is in on the land in the mansion, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, outside of the mansion. So um Brooke, who is in Maya's body, she snaps her neck as she
Mm-hmm.
falls. You can kind of see as she's laying there, her neck is kind of like, But Ruben, who was in Dennis's body, lands smack dab on the sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
And the sculpture has 1,000,001 arrows
Mm-hmm.
sticking out of it. So, want to talk about a gruesome death?
They're done.
So now it's one thing that they have to deal with the fact that their friends died.
Mm-hmm.
Their friends died in their bodies.
Yeah.
And so Maya, who is in Shelby's body, is looking
Yes.
at her dead body.
Yep.
And not Cyrus, Dennis, who is in Cyrus's body, is looking at his dead body.
Yes.
So Maya, after when people are trying to figure out what's happening, I think Nikki, who was in Brooke's body, she was somewhere crying. And everybody else was like shocked. Dennis was in Cyrus's body. He was freaking out, like, you got to put me back. You got put how are they going to put you back?
Sir, we can't put you back because unfortunately, like it's kind of like I don't know how to describe this exactly, but like it's not on. No one's
Right.
home, sir. We
You
can't
want to be
reboot you.
you want to be in a body with several puncture wounds?
Like I'm sorry, sir. Like if there's no brain activity, then by the time we transfer your conscious, it's you. Do you think your consciousness is going to wake your body up? What do you think is going to happen?
And he just wouldn't let it go.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let it go. He was so upset. Um, Maya is somewhere in Shelby's body trying to come to, right? Like we said, she's all woo woo, she's a Buddhist. And so at this point, she's kind of thinking that this is some sort of like divine punishment.
Mm.
Because she mentioned that she had an affair with a married man before. Now, this is before she even kissed Ruben. No, we're Ruben, but when Cyrus was Ruben.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So she's somewhere being quiet, kind of being solemn, and now everybody's ready to go back into their bodies. Nobody wants to play anymore. But
Also, who was it that said this is our rebirth?
that was Maya.
Oh my gosh. When she said that, I was like,
Yeah.
girl, shut up. Oh my gosh. We're in bigger things now. We can't be woo woo no more.
Girl, we can't be no woo woo no more.
No,
So
no. We're
now,
gonna talk about whoop whoop, the police. That's the sound of the
okay.
police.
So now Nikki, who was in Brooke's body, she's like ready to go home because Nikki,
Of course.
her body is fine.
Yep.
And she's ready to go. The issue is that well, really Dennis, he's the one who has the biggest problem. Dennis, who's in Cyrus's body, he's just upset that everybody else gets to be in their bodies and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so now
Dennis, two people died. All right, you're not the only person who's suffering here.
right. So Cyrus is trying to convince him to go back into Ruben's body. Mind you, Forbes, who was in Ruben's body, is trying to make a clean getaway.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
oh my gosh. When they're like, where's Forbes? And you see him scurrying off in the background. Get back here. Get back here, fix this.
and it was Dennis and it was Nikki who was just really gung ho, not even really taking a lot of time to just
Process
deal with
what
the fact that
happened.
they lost their friends,
Mm-hmm.
In such a gruesome way, by the way.
That's also a problem. That's also a major problem I have with this because, like, if you're talking about switching bodies, I immediately be like, well, what if somebody dies? And of course, everybody's be like, that's not gonna happen. It's like you don't know. You don't know
You
what's going to
don't.
happen. You don't even know if we'll be able to switch back from bodies. You don't know if you're gonna give me a brain tumor with this machine.
Right.
So why are we
Because
even doing this?
when he did the second round, he was like, oh, the thing needs 24 hours to charge. I don't want to spend the night in somebody else's body.
24 hours? What?
Right. That's what Forbes said. He was like, oh, after this, it's going to need 24 hours of charge. Are you insane? Which I think was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a lie.
Also, didn't Ruben have to get married the next day?
Yes.
Sir,
Who was going to, so you wanted Dennis to marry Sophia in
uh,
Ruben's body?
what's going
So
on?
Cyrus, who's in Forbes' body, is
Mm.
trying to convince, because he wants his body back. That's why he's trying to convince Dennis of this. Dennis wanted to stay in Cyrus's body just to spite him.
Mm-hmm.
Now we get to this big argument between Cyrus and Dennis,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets revealed that, well, we the not the consumers, the watchers, the viewers could put this together. Then it gets revealed by Dennis that Cyrus told Nikki that Dennis cheated on her with Beatrice and then
Oh,
asked her out.
oh, oh, oh my god, he's so stupid. Like, why would
And
you
I'm
think
like,
that would you think because she's single and because she's available, she's going to want you? That's not enough, sir. That's not enough. It might be enough for some girls, but not her. She has
and
standards.
then okay, and then Dennis goes to call Shelby a consolation prize.
I feel so sad. Oh my god.
Like
Poor Shelby. Poor Shelby. All she's doing is her best. And
her very best.
she just keeps getting knocked down time after
When she
time.
was like, my body, her body, I can't get laid by anybody because
Dang.
she wanted. I was like, oh my god! Like I
She's
said, free
like
my sister,
she's like
free
I
my
just
sister.
she is going through a drought and it's not even her
She can't
choice.
even think right. She can't even think.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, 1 second, yes.
Mm.
Thank you, Joshua. Oh my god. Okay, you brought me some food. Oh, they give me a surprise. But yeah, everybody's having a moment right now.
Yes.
Everybody's having a moment because at the end of the day, two people are not going to be in their specific bodies. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, easiest case scenario. By the way, when Forbes, who was in Ruben's body, was trying to abscond.
Uh.
Yes, Joshua. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. When Ruben is trying to abscond, Nikki, who's in Brooke's body, grabs this like bat thing and hits him over the head with it,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of escalates the scene because it's like Nikki's kind of like not as annoying as Dennis is about this whole thing, but she's just really reiterating, I need to get back in my body. I need to get back in my
She
body.
is so self-centered. She's selfish. She's self-absorbed. And I also want to say, like, you lost two of your friends. Two people have died. Not only have they
And you're
died,
trying to leave.
you're trying to leave. You're trying to abandon their bodies. And the worst thing is that you're not even thinking about the fact that these people are dead, and like you can't even like have a funeral for them. Like they're gone for real. And it's not even the people who actually died. It's the people you switch
Right.
bodies with. Like Ruben, who was supposed to
Right.
get married, is dead. Maya, who is just a little wait, was it? Yeah.
Look.
Maya, who's a little boo boo in Brooke's body, she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, their parents will not know that they're dead. Like, nobody who knows them and cares about them and loves them won't know that
Right.
they're dead. Only you guys
Right.
know. And you don't even care because you're so concerned with yourselves.
So after Nikki done, Nikki, who was in Brooke's body, done hit Ruben over the head, hit Forbes, who's in Ruben's body, hit
Yeah.
him over the head with the stick. Now they're Nikki and Cyrus are carrying Forbes's body, I mean Ruben's body, but Forbes's body into the house because now they're trying. I guess they're going to try to like force him to make the switch. But after they done knocked him out, Shelby is the only one that can work the machine.
And she's like,
Shelby
nobody's
doesn't want
switching back. Nobody's switching back. We're staying exactly where we are. Ain't nothing
and
changing.
this is where now the easiest thing to do would be for them to put Maya in Brooke's body. And because Brooke was the one that died in Maya's body, put Maya in Brooke's body, put Dennis in Ruben's body. because they were the ones that died. So you got to go into their bodies. That would have been the easiest thing. Nobody wants to do that. Well, I don't think Maya would have had an issue being in Brooke's body. Not Cyrus. Dennis had an issue being in Ruben's body. So now they're bringing Forbes back into the house, and Shelby doesn't want to go back. Now there's an issue between Shelby and Nikki. Nikki's like, it's
Oh
not my
wait,
fault. You hate my
so we
life.
skipped over something.
But
Dennis, who is in Cyrus's body, calls the
mm,
police and
oh my
says,
God, I killed
literally
him.
the rising action, girl. Not the rising action, but the
Mm-hmm,
climax of the climax.
mm-hmm,
Which
mm-hmm.
when Dennis is in Cyrus's body, he calls the police. He's like, "Hi, I'm Cyrus. I have killed these two
Yeah,
people. I
yeah,
am at this address," and hangs up. Which, he's in the body. He admits to it on the phone. Of course, they're gonna come and they're gonna be on their way. And it's not like the cops are gonna believe you when you say, "Oh, we swap bodies." Like, right, girl. Okay, just plead to insanity. Yeah,
right.
like
I'm like, either way. So I'm like, what was Cyrus, not Cyrus, what was Dennis going to do if they arrested him in Cyrus's body before they switched the bodies? Did
he
he
probably
really
wasn't
not
thinking
care?
straight.
Like,
He probably wasn't thinking straight because they're all high.
right,
But
right.
that now we're running against the clock because you call the
That's
cops
why
on a
they brought
normal
Ruben in.
call, they may take 30-40 minutes. Cops, when you admit to the crime, they're on their way. They're bringing the whole squad. They're bringing SWAT. They're bringing everybody.
So now
Girl.
we got like 10 minutes.
Yeah, girl. Maybe
We got
less.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe less, for everybody to get back in their right
Yeah.
body.
Yep.
But Shelby
Yep.
don't want to cooperate.
No, she does not. She wants to
And
live
this
the
is where
dream.
that part.
Mm.
This is where we reveal a little bit more about Nikki. So Nikki, who at one point she doesn't want to be in Brooke's body anymore, and when the movie first started, remember I told you she said when Brooke was bouncing around greeting Shelby, Nikki looked at Shelby and was like, "Oh my God." Then when they get to the table, they're drinking their glass of wine. Nikki's like, "Oh my God, Brooke, how are you single? You're so cute." Da, 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 da.
Mm.
I'm like, she was picking on her. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even, because I don't speak mean girl. She was picking on her,
Yeah.
and Dennis called it out at the table. Dennis said, "Well, why don't you just let her post on your page with 2 million followers?" All of a sudden, she don't want to talk about it anymore. So
Mm.
now she's being all gung ho. I don't want to be in Brooke's body. I don't want to be in Brooke's body. And Shelby's like, "Wait, but isn't this like the experience you were hoping for, like the
To
cultural
experience
experience
new
that you were
cultures, new
okay,
ethnicities, to understand
okay."
each other's differences. When white people start saying things like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, shut up. Please, no one believes you. No
So
one believes you.
now she's like, "I want to get back in my body." And then
Mm.
that's when Shelby reveals the conversation she was having with her manager. And the
Mm-hmm.
manager was like, "Oh, there hasn't been a lot of diversity on your feed lately." I'm like, "Nikki, girl, 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 girl.
Mm.
You slide dog you," because the whole like, "Oh, social media can help," and blah 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 blah
The
was BS.
manager was literally like, girl, you got too many white friends on here. People are accusing you of things. All right, people are saying that you finna pop out on what's a timely reference I can make? People are saying, girl, people see you have no friends of color. You be
Mm-hmm.
posting all these generic pics, girl. They gonna start looking for
Okay.
your old tweets. So you better post.
Oh,
You better
girl,
post a friend. You better post something with
girl,
some color. All right. If they find some
girl.
tweets from you in middle school, we are gonna be in trouble.
Trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So the story then escalates. Now, um, Ruben, who is Forbes, who is in Ruben's body, is tied to something in the basement, and Nikki, who's in Brooke's body, is trying to convince him to turn the machine back on, get everybody back to where they need to be,
Yes.
and he's kind of like, "I may be having a concussion," like
He's
he
like,
might have a
I'm not okay right now, guys.
right, and Forbes is trying to convince Shelby to get back in her body, get out of Nikki's body, and then he's having this conversation with Shelby in front of Maya, who is also in Shelby's body.
Yep.
And that's when Maya drops the bomb.
Yes. So essentially, Cyrus is trying to convince Shelby to switch back, and he mentions that he got a cut when um okay. So no, now my notes are getting me confused. I'm so sorry. Hold on. So yeah, basically, um, it's which girl is it? It's Brooke, right?
Maya,
It's Maya.
Brooke. No, it's Maya in Shelby's body. Brooke died in Maya's body.
Brooke died in Maya's body.
Hmm.
No, it was Maya who died, and
It was
oh,
Brooke.
Brooke died in Maya's body, and it
Hmm.
was Ruben and Dennis's body.
Hmm. Hmm.
Dang, so he cheated. He didn't even cheat on the right girl.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Um. Basically, yeah. Cyrus tries to convince Shelby to switch back,
Mm.
and then um Shelby tries to blackmail Nikki, right, in Brooke's body by threatening
Hmm.
to release that story where she's like, I'm just so tired of Black Lives Matter, you know? And I was just like, girl, just go ahead and post it. Just
Okay,
go
because it's
ahead and
true.
post
It's
it.
true. She is tired of the
Go ahead and
It's
post it.
true.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
What was, can you, I need to walk through the scene in the greenhouse when Cyrus is like begging Nikki to switch back to Shelby, and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I love you. I love you so much. And then like she finally caves. And then the girl who's in Shelby's body, who's that?
Maya.
Maya. What did Maya say?
Maya.
Is
So you remember he said like he hurt his what leg because he was actually in Ruben's body
mm-hmm.
earlier when Maya was in Nikki's body and they made out and he like backed into something and it cut it. And so he was like, "Oh, my leg hurts now." And so Maya, who was in Shelby's body, as he was selling these pipe dreams to Shelby, who was in Nikki's body, she was like, "How did you hurt your leg again? Was that you earlier? That's messed up because you said you were Forbes." Like something along those lines. And you
Oh
said that
yeah.
you couldn't, you know, whatever he told Nikki when he was kissing her, when he thought he was kissing Nikki, he knew he
When he thought
wasn't
he was
kissing Nikki,
kissing Nikki,
but
yeah.
when he thought he was kissing Nikki, everything, the things that he said, that's what Maya told Shelby, who was in Nikki's
Mm-hmm.
body. So that's when Shelby went rogue and
Yes.
got up and was just like, "I'm so stupid." I'm like, "Girl, you just believed him. You was in love, girl."
It's so it's frustrating because I think a lot of people who watched the movie felt like Shelby was being annoying because like, oh, just switch
Mm-hmm.
them back. But like Shelby is vindicated in being upset. Like, should it have taken this long to be this upset? No, they were in a relationship for
Mm-hmm.
8 years. Like, I don't know how long this pot has been simmering. I don't know how long she's been angry and mad at him. But like, honestly, I feel like at this point, she's just sick and tired. She's sick and tired of
Yeah.
the games.
Yeah.
She wants to be Nikki. She wants to live this life. And although I would rather her be a self actualized black woman and love herself, if this is how you're going to get your revenge, girl, then okay, fine.
I, to my surprise, which I shouldn't have been surprised,
Hmm.
the woman who plays Nikki has she's obviously, like I said, she's gorgeous. She has a lot of like supporters, and
Mm.
so when I go to look up "It's What's Inside" on TikTok, there's a bunch of edits of her,
Mm-hmm.
and so people are in the comments like, "Oh my god, they were just upset with her because she was pretty. She didn't do anything wrong." I'm like, "She didn't do anything wrong. She was a fake activist and a racist. What are you guys talking about? She was mean."
Yes.
Now, none of that means she deserved to lose her body.
No.
None of that means she deserved to lose her body. But at the end of the day, we need conflict in the movie. So, of
Yeah.
course, there has to be some kind of like,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
nobody in this movie is blameless, so to speak. But
right.
like, we don't gotta sit here and act like Nikki is an angel. All
We're
right.
not going to do that. We're
No.
going to be for real. She was not an angel.
No.
Again, yes, Shelby should have given her back her body.
Mm.
But Nikki also got in her own way
Yeah.
in trying to get back trying to get back in her body because while Forbes is trying to work things out with Shelby in Nikki's body, well, not Forbes, while Dennis, who's in Cyrus, who was in Forbes' body, is trying to work things out with Shelby, who was in Nikki's body,
Mm-hmm.
um, Shelby has a conversation with Forbes, who was in Ruben's body. And you remember Forbes was like, "You want to know what I would do if I was in your situation? No, if I was in your shoes." So now, while they're trying to figure out how to get everybody back to their bodies,
Yeah.
um, they're like, "Okay, well, let's hook everybody up to the after." I skipped over a plot point. I'm sorry. Um, Shelby talks to Cyrus and says, "Do you want me to stay in Nikki's body and you switch to Ruben
Hmm.
and let Dennis remain in Cyrus's body so he can deal with the BS because he was the one that called the cops,
Yeah.
right? So let him deal with it, but you and I run away together."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Oh my gosh, you people make me sick. You people make my skin crawl. You make my ass itch. Like it's
He
actually
wanted
like
his girlfriend. He loved her so much, but he wanted her to spend the rest of her life
as the
in
girl he
another woman.
fantasized about but couldn't get. The
So then they
disgust
go
is
back in the
palpable.
oh my god, like the black disgust. The black disgust.
I'm
But
sick.
I'm sick. But then he goes to it's Shelby is like, "Okay, fine, let's hook everybody up." Now, because of Forbes who was in Ruben's body, he told Nikki who's in Brooke's body that there's a 50-50 chance she won't get her body back.
Mm-hmm.
And so now she's freaking out. Now she's trying to have her own plan with Cyrus. I mean, not with Cyrus, but Dennis, who was in Cyrus's body. So Shelby's like, "I know how to hook up the machine. Let's put everybody back in their bodies. It's fine. It's fine." Um, Nikki didn't believe her. So guess what Nikki does? She
She.
wanted Forbes put to look at the. I guess Shelby was trying to hook the thing up before
Mm-hmm.
Forbes looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And what did Nikki do to make sure that Forbes could look at the wires?
She took a jar of peanut butter and smeared it on Nikki's face, which everyone was like, "What is she doing?" Turns
Mm-hmm.
out she is deathly allergic to peanuts.
They got 5 minutes.
She said, "If you don't let me back in my money body, I might as well just kill you." At this
She
point.
was like, "I have an EpiPen, but I'm not going to tell anybody where it is. I'm just looking
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my god! And the crazy part of okay, so do you think that they would have put Nikki back in her body had she not had she
Done
not done
that?
that?
No.
Mm.
Probably no. Like if they could have gotten away with it, they would have dragged Maya's body back in there and put her in there.
Mind you, the cops are now they're trying to hook up the machine. The cops are banging on the
The
doors.
dogs are there. The popo is there. It's 5-0.
12 is here. Child, they banging on
They're
the door
at
telling them to
the
open
door.
up. Shelby is going into anaphylactic shock. Now Cyrus finally sees what a monster Nikki is. He's like grabbing her, shaking her. "Why did you do blah 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 blah?" Maya, who's in Shelby's body, she's kind of like shocked. She's like, "Oh my god, like what's wrong with you?"
Y'all don't
And
realize the people you're friends with are terrible? You didn't care that two of your
so
friends died just now, but you're
they were
surprised
too
she
high,
she she gonna kill somebody? Like, come on now. The writing's on the
girl.
wall.
So then Forbes, who's in Ruben's body, comes in finally, switches one button,
Mm-hmm.
and wouldn't tell Cyrus what button he switched.
Mm-hmm.
And so he presses the button, and now everything is over. But it's not,
It's not over. It's
because
not
then we
over.
see Beatrice with a black eye
Yes.
flying down the highway to get to Ruben's house.
Yeah.
She's cussing out this other lady. They pull over, they're cussing at each other. Lady hits the window with her crutch.
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice pulls up to the wedding. Sophia and her friends and her family are over there crying because
Yes.
obviously her and Ruben aren't getting married. So
Mm.
then Beatrice sees Forbes.
It's all for the best girl.
Okay, Beatrice sees Forbes and tackles him, only to find out that's not Forbes.
It's not, girl, because guess who it is? It's
It's
Dennis!
Dennis.
And guess what? That's not Beatrice either. That's
Guess who it
Forbes!
is? It's Forbes.
And guess who was in Forbes the whole time?
Beatrice.
Exactly, his sister. She
You
said,
know what?
I'm getting my dues.
She got her lick back and then some.
And then some.
And so now,
And so
Forbes, who
now.
was in Beatrice's body, is trying to explain everything that happened and how they got up to this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which finally clarifying for us that Dennis, who was still denying the nature of his relationship with Beatrice this whole time, him and Beatrice were hooking up and he
Mm-hmm.
was selling her dream. Oh, we're going to go to Hawaii. We're going to go here. We're going to go there. So, of course, and she already has a history
Mm-hmm.
of having episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, when she sees him booed up with
With Nikki.
Nikki,
Yep.
she
Everybody
loses it.
everybody treating her like she's delusional, like she's crazy, which pushes her to have an episode.
Mind you, she only had one drink. Forbes
Mm-hmm.
only gave her one drink. It was Dennis who gave her the rest of the drinks. She has a moment. Obviously, Forbes defends his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dennis and Ruben get together to blame Forbes for everything. That's why he gets expelled. But Beatrice got sent to a mental institution.
Yeah. And Forbes shows her the machine to try and make her feel better, which I'm gonna be very honest, like that was such a stupid thing to do. Why would you show your sister, who is not all the way stable, a machine where you can swap bodies with somebody else when she has been wronged by people that you used to think
By
of as
every
friends?
single person in that room, except for Shelby. Shelby didn't do
Shelby did nothing wrong.
anything. Shelby didn't do anything to her.
Mm.
Honestly, Brooke and Maya didn't do anything to her either. At least
No,
from what we
they
saw,
were collateral
they were just
damage.
there.
They
They
were
were
just
collateral.
there. Yeah.
Okay, so then, Forbes, who's in Beatrice's body, is explaining he was showing her the machine. The last
Mm.
time he showed the machine, she knocked him out, took the machine and absconds.
She said, I have a
There
party to
you go.
crash. And not only that, because it was Beatrice who was pretending to be Forbes, when
Mm-hmm.
Forbes, aka Beatrice, was in Dennis's body, she took all of Dennis's money. $2 million. Which I have to say, like, we just leaving this in PayPal? Because that's what it looked like.
So I thought there was limits.
Girl, you can't transfer that much money at once. But yeah, so
then
Beatrice took all his money.
round 3, we see Forbes mess with the thing one. Well, Forbes, who was now Beatrice, mess with the thing one more time.
Mm.
Doesn't tell Cyrus what he did. Cyrus is back in his body. Shelby
Yep.
is back in her body.
Yes.
Maya is in Brooke's body. Dennis, is in Forbes' body, and Beatrice is in Nikki's body.
Yeah.
Nikki is now in Ruben's body.
Which is so funny. Like, sorry, girl.
Well,
Sorry.
which is why I asked, do you think that they would have just put Nikki back in her body had she not did the peanut butter thing?
I mean, Shelby wouldn't have, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously Beatrice showed up with the intent of making things messy. So
Right.
she definitely wasn't gonna
Either
do that.
way, she wasn't. Nikki wasn't gonna get back in her body that night.
I don't know what Beatrice's goals were because it's not really like gone. They don't go into that in the film. Like, I don't know if she planned on being Nikki the whole time, or if she like had some other motive or some other like there was another outcome that she wanted to happen. But I find it. I don't know if it's interesting or if I find it annoying, but there are 2 women in this movie that have been scorned in some way or another by Nikki. You know, Shelby, whose boyfriend is hung up on Nikki despite the fact that he has no chance with her at all. And Shelby, who sees Nikki as the epitome of like popularity and, you know, like being someone who's attractive and desirable and wanting to emulate her to the point of absolutely being fine with living life as Nikki and assuming her identity just so her boyfriend will finally be happy. And then we have Beatrice, who was, deceived by an older guy and entered a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with him. And he lied to her and he ended up in a relationship with Nikki. And she took Dennis's money, but she was still mad at Nikki. But in a way, she decided to assume Nikki's identity and her body as well and start living her life as her. And the whole time, like, Nikki is someone who, yeah, she has this desirable life, but like, it's not like she's a good person. It's not like she's an
Right.
inspiration. It's not like she's a role model. She is self absorbed. She is vapid. She's popular, but that's all there is to her. Everything
Mm-hmm.
else is empty. She's a very surface level person. There's no depth to her. Not to her character. Her character is very well defined. We know who she is. As a
Mm-hmm.
person, she's about as deep as a puddle. But we have two women that so badly want to emulate her in so many ways when,
Mm-hmm.
like, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with Shelby, and there's nothing wrong with Beatrice, really. I understand why Beatrice wanted revenge. I get it, But me personally, I'm not saying I would ever do something like this because, like, I'm, I don't have access to people who could do this kind of stuff. And even if I did, girl, I'm not
That
messing with
part.
that. But if I
I'm
could,
not missing
I
with
would have taken the money and I would have left.
that. And
That's
just
all I would have
left.
done. Yeah, that's all I need. That money.
So
Yes.
then we get to the jail because Cyrus is sitting in jail, and Shelby won't give in to him. She won't tell him what he wants to hear. So he doesn't even believe that this is Shelby.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And she's like, "You wasted my time." But you remember she cussed him out the way that he wanted her to cuss that dental hygienist.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Something you deserve is to live with the rusty shovel shoved so far up your blah blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
And left that man in jail.
The thing I love about the movie, is that, like, we start with Shelby and Cyrus, fighting, and the fighting escalates to the point where, like, it shows, like, the title card and everything, which I love. I also love how the film is edited. So it's so snappy and catchy.
Same. I love how like the stop motion when they do the story time or
Yes.
like the flashback. I love that so much. I'm like, what an innovative way to like they use social media
Mm-hmm.
in a way that was just like, it wasn't corny, it wasn't played out. It made sense for the story, but it didn't overshadow the story. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Yeah. And then we end with Shelby effectively breaking up with him. And when she
Mhm.
tells him off, how the movie just ends, like, so sharply like that. It's like, yes. So good. I love it when it's stylistic, but also the plot is very well done. And
Mhm.
I think this is one of Netflix's better originals, as well as, like,
Mhm.
movies like Don't Move. That's also a
Mhm.
very great film because they're original ideas, they're interesting, they're very well edited, well written, and also well acted. Like, these actors, they
Mhm.
did a good job with this film. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it, and it's so great to see, like, Netflix actors being taken into a new project, like something like this. It's What's Inside, and I have to say, like, this movie was messy. This movie was
Mhm.
crazy. It was infuriating. But rewatching it, man, I could not look away. I
Yeah.
could not look away.
Messy boots, messy boots. It's one of those movies that get better every time you watch it
Mm-hmm. Because
because you
every time
just
you watch it, there's something new to uncover.
the subtleties of the relationship. They were the actors. I'm like, and I have to give my hats off to the actors for them to act like somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
and like they had to. So Nikki had to act like Shelby. Shelby had to act like Nikki. Brooke had to act like Maya. Maya had to act. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just, and they had to do it multiple times. They had
Mm-hmm.
to, jumping into multiple bodies, and each actor just took it on like their entire demeanor changed. Like the guy who plays Ruben when Cyrus was in his body,
Mm-hmm.
and he took on a completely different like the mannerisms, the persona, the stature, like all
Mm-hmm.
of that. You know, they did their big one, not their biggest one. Netflix didn't do their biggest one with this movie, but they did
Mm-hmm.
their big one for
They
sure.
did. They
For sure.
did. And
Mm-hmm.
Beatrice driving off as Shelby, just like into the night, is so. I feel like it's very interesting, and I don't really feel like the film needs a sequel, so to speak,
Mm-mm.
but I do
Mm-mm.
wonder, like, how the characters will be, like, kind of left,
Mm-hmm.
because there was no way that Nikki was gonna go and marry Sophia after she turned into Ruben. So now I'm wondering, like, so what's she gonna do now, girl? Like, you are in a man's body. Like, what's up? What's up,
A
girl?
handsome man,
A
for
handsome man
for
at that. A very
a
good
handsome
looking
man,
man.
if that matters. But
Yeah.
still, you are, you know, you are in a man's. But which I found pretty, like, I don't know, maybe like poetic justice, given how Shelby threatened her with the whole, aren't you guys tired of the whole BLM movement?
And now you're stuck as a black man.
Now you're stuck as a black man.
Yeah,
I'm
girl.
like, well, that was a
Enjoy
cherry on
that.
top of the cake. Yep.
Yes. That's what you get. I feel like my final thoughts about It's What's Inside. It seems like, um, in my opinion, this is a summer film, and I
Yes.
wish that it was released in theaters because to
Hmm.
watch this in theaters would make a huge impact on
Hmm.
just like the conversation you would have online or with friends. Watching it online is still fun, but the communal experience really does bring a lot more to, watching movies. And I
Right.
just get really tired of like movies that are on streaming that are great, that are stellar, that are fun. But if you watch it on the big screen, it makes all the difference. And it's just that, those little things. And I understand that like streaming makes it more convenient for people. Some people can't go
Hmm.
to the movie theater. I completely understand that. But if streaming platforms like Netflix or Hulu have the, ability to release their films in the theaters, then they should. But streaming is trying to be like the antidote to going to the theaters, which is
Hmm.
annoying and infuriating because if y'all want to make money so badly, girl, just embrace it. You know what I mean? But I digress.
Yeah.
What are your final thoughts about It's What's Inside?
I think it was kind of perfect. I'm not even gonna lie, because I had no idea what this movie was going to be about before watching it, and I didn't know that it was going to take the turn that it did. It went from like messy friend group to people died. You know? And it was just kind of like, oh my God, now you're hooked. Now you're sitting straight up. Now you're
Yep.
like, I need to know. You're putting your phone, if you were on your phone, you're putting your phone down.
Oh yeah.
Like I could imagine seeing it in the theater and just the shock in the within the audience when those bodies hit the ground,
Yep.
because it's just they did such a good, between the from the poster, from the way that the movie was edited, maybe even the trailers, you had no idea
Yes.
what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole I do agree that it is a summer movie. It really was giving like I Know What You Did Last Summer or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't think it needs a sequel. If they did give it a sequel,
I feel
they
like
could
it would
have like the.
work if it was a sequel. It would work well as like an anthology where like
Yes,
someone does an
yes.
expose, they find out about the
Mhm.
machine. Oh my gosh, these people are ruined. Someone does like a whole like tell all, and then someone tries to like find the machine or
Mhm.
remake it, or like somebody like
Mhm.
finds Nikki, who's actually Beatrice, and then
Mhm.
so many things happen. Kind
Right.
of like Smile, you know, how
Mhm.
Smile was like a movie with like the therapist and then the guy, and then it was the
It
singer
just kept jumping,
songwriter.
right? Because I didn't see it, so
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
But it's basically just like a continuation. Like if we're gonna do a sequel, we had to do a sequel with new people. That's essentially what
Right.
I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the same machine.
Mm.
But yeah, overall, I give it two thumbs up, and I always recommend it. It's like my current obsession right now.
Yes, absolutely. Well, guys, that was our review of It's What's Inside. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the episode with our last segment, Watch List, where we talk about
Mhm.
movies and TV shows that we're excited to watch.
Mhm.
One TV show that I'm not excited to watch, but I'm currently watching, is The Pit on Max. And it's a show that
Oh.
essentially follows a, I believe, 15-hour shift in an ER. So every episode is an hour of the
Mhm.
shift. And it follows actor Noah Weiler, I believe, who
Mhm.
plays the head doctor in the ER. Excuse me. And when you start watching this show, it's also following other doctors in the ER. It's following three new interns and a resident. a new resident to the ER. The show is intense. The show is
Mm-hmm.
fast paced, fast moving. It feels like The Bear in season one, where you feel like you're stepping into someone's life. In The Bear, you're stepping into a beloved neighborhood restaurant that sells sandwiches and subs. The Pit is you stepping into an emergency room. You see people dying, you see people getting hurt, you see people, being friends with each other. There is a lot of heartbreak, there's a lot of challenges. It's a very tough watch in some parts of the episode. Like, I'm on episode 3 right now, and where episode 3 opens is something that's very tense and very uncomfortable. But I'm really enjoying the show. I love Noah Weiler. He's amazing. He was also in ER, and now he's in The Pit. And I think it's
Okay.
amazing. I'm pretty sure he's a front runner for,
An
best
Emmy,
act.
right?
Oh yeah, best actor in a drama series. He's a front runner in that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I am excited to finish it. I'm also watching the show called Flack on Amazon Prime. It kept coming up in my recommended, so I started watching it, and it follows this PR firm that deals with these terrible celebrity scandals. They're very salacious. They don't hold back. It's funny. It's interesting. I'm enjoying it so far. I like it, and I need something new to watch because I've been watching The Good Wife for the past 2 months, I think, and I'm almost done with it. I'm on season 7, so when I finish that, I need something else. Whenever I pick up a network show that's multiple seasons, I'm like, yes. Yes, especially when it's good. It's like, oh, come on. And The Good Wife, oh, CBS, they were pushing the FCC. Because there's some episodes I was watching, I was like, I didn't know the FCC was knocking down on Robert King's door, like, sir, what are
Right.
we doing? But
Right.
those are the things that I've been watching lately. There are a couple movies I want to see that are out right now, like The Amateur, starring Rami Malek, who I love. Black Bag, I think, starring Michael Fassbender and Kathleen, Kate Blanchett. Yeah, and John Renee
Okay.
Page is also in that movie. That's another reason why I'm watching it, because I
Um,
love my man.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
there are other things out right now, but I don't know. Maybe they're not on my radar right now. But that's everything that I'm excited to watch as of right
Hmm.
now.
To me, the movie I'm most excited, I'm seeing it tomorrow. I'm seeing Sinners, and I'm just
Oh,
like super excited because I am. Oh my gosh! And then one of those locations in which Ryan intended for it to be seen is close to me, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see it
oh,
twice. I'm gonna see it in IMAX, but I'm also gonna see it in that like
oh.
the 70
Oh my
millimeter
gosh, I
one.
haven't been to an IMAX
Um,
theater in months. Oh, I love
Okay, I haven't been
IMAX.
any years. I always see it standard, but I'm
Mm.
like anything for Selena's. I'm sorry, anything for Ryan Coogler. If he wants us to see it in IMAX, I'm going to see it in
Sir, I
IMAX.
will
I'm
pay the
sorry.
extra money.
I will pay the extra money. I trust Ryan Coogler. So I'm super excited to see Sinners.
Mm.
I just finished like the last episode of the season for Abbott Elementary, so that's like my
Fun.
latest watch.
I'm.
I kind of want to get into Severance because I never watched it,
Oh my
and I
gosh,
heard
you
people talk
should.
about it,
You
and
should.
now I'm like, I kind of want to watch it. I also
Yes.
just finished Daredevil, and I loved it.
Oh my
Daredevil
gosh,
Born
you have to
Again.
start watching Daredevil. The thing is, like, for me, whenever I start watching something where it's like, I don't know, if it's like a new season or like, oh, we're continuing on the show, but it's not the show, it's something different. I still need
Yeah,
to rewatch the show because I don't
to
remember what
catch up.
happens.
Now
Yes.
I liked Daredevil Born Again.
Mm-hmm.
Some people didn't. I feel like it's kind of like split down the middle. I feel like
Uh,
it's very mixed, but I enjoyed it. It's the same amount of violence.
uh-huh.
It is the same amount of violence, the same amount of messiness. I am curious as to where they're going to take it because they kind of like they really shook the show up. I'm not even going to hold you,
I'm
but
gonna be real. I've
mm,
already had it spoiled for me in some parts, but like I was hoping
mhm.
that Elodie Young was gonna come back to the show. Does she?
Who
Electra.
Elodie Young? No, she didn't. She die and like so way back when they did like the 20 the
No,
all
I
of the like
know.
the Jessica.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh,
No,
but
I
you don't believe
know.
she did.
No, of course not. Of course not. Where's the body? Come on.
Well,
You expect
well,
me to believe that our girl is gone?
because that's how it is on Marvel. If you don't see the body, bro. They may not be dead.
Mm-mm.
His favorite situationship.
Oh my god,
I
she
thought,
had three of them at the same time. Everybody was complaining about him being a She-Hulk doing the Walk of Shame. Have you seen the show, girl? That's his MO. All right, don't be surprised.
now I
We
ain't gonna
know
do
what
too
it
much.
is.
Not too many is. I'm be honest with you. It's not too many white men that I'm like. But that Matt Murdock, that Matt
Oh
Murdock,
my
I'm like.
god.
See, y'all just gonna have to call me out my name. I'm sorry.
First Karen, then the nurse who apparently knows all the superheroes, and then Elektra. Oh
He gonna
my
pull him
god.
though. He gonna pull him though.
No
I
woman look at
respect
him
it.
too long. He stays in a
Don't
conversation
look.
with a woman for more than a day. She's in his bed.
Don't, apparently, I didn't finish this part. But
Mm-hmm.
the only one that they said wasn't charmed by him was Jessica Jones, and I'm like,
Yeah,
that's on brand. She was
yeah.
the only one that was just kind of like, so
She
it would
had
have
her.
worked on me.
You wouldn't have to try hard, sir. Trust me.
Nope, you wouldn't have to try hard. I promise. I
Not at
promise. I would have
all.
had to skedaddle when I found out you was Daredevil. Though I would have had to find me somewhere else to be. Respectfully, you ain't gonna have Kingpin coming after me.
Listen, me personally, I don't live a life where I ever need a lawyer. Okay, but if I ever did, and they say this is your lawyer, Matt Murdock, he walks in, I'm like, Lord. The face you're making right now. I'd be like, Lord, forgive me, for I'm about to sin.
Okay, gotta hit the Hail Mary real quick. I'm
Jesus,
so
forgive
sorry.
me in advance, please.
Okay,
I'm looking for a ring. I'm like,
okay, okay.
oh my gosh. Chelsea, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can people
Thank
find
you for
you?
having me. They can find me on TikTok again. I am working on like getting my Instagram like up and running and posting, but it really is just TikTok right now _ Chelsea Welcy, or you
Mm-hmm.
can look up Chelsea Nicole and you'll find me.
Awesome. Guys, go check out Chelsea on TikTok. Her links will be in the description down below. Don't forget to check us out on all our social media as well, on TikTok, on Twitter, on Blue Sky. Subscribe to the Patreon, subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. And don't forget to tell your friends and family about your new favorite podcast. I've been meaning to watch that. I am your host, Monica. I will see you guys next week with a new topic and a new guest, like we do every single week. Bye.
Bye.